I was staring at my wife's laptop screen when my entire world shattered into a million pieces. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. I wasn't some paranoid husband who snooped through his wife's things. But there it was, right in front of me. A message notification that popped up while I was using her computer to print our daughter's permission slip for the school field trip. Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. When can we meet again? The sender's name was Tyler Brennan. I knew exactly who he was, her coworker from the marketing firm where she'd been working for the past 3 years. My hands started shaking as I clicked on the message thread. What I found made my stomach turn. Months of conversations, plans to meet at hotels, explicit discussions about what they'd done together, photos I never wanted to see, and worst of all, jokes about me, about how clueless I was, about how she was just waiting for the right time to leave, about how she was already consulting with a lawyer to make sure she got the house in full custody of Emma. I sat there in our home office, the printer still whirring in the background, and felt something cold settle into my chest. Not just anger, not just betrayal. Something calculating. My name is David Patterson, and I'd spent the last 12 years building a life with Ashley Patterson, or so I thought. We met in college, got married right after graduation, and had our daughter Emma when we were both 26. I'd worked my way up to senior project manager at a construction firm, pulling in a solid 6-figure salary. Ashley had started working at Meridian Marketing 3 years ago, claiming she needed something for herself after being a stay-at-home mom for 5 years. I'd supported her, encouraged her, took on more responsibilities at home so she could pursue her career. And this was how she repaid me. The date on the earliest message was from 14 months ago. 14 months of lies. 14 months of coming home late, of work dinners, of weekend team-building retreats. 14 months of me being the fool who believed every word. I heard the garage door opening. Ashley was home early. It was only 2:30 p.m. on a Thursday. Emma wouldn't be back from school until 3:45. I had maybe 15 minutes to make a decision that would determine the rest of my life. My finger hovered over the mouse. Every instinct screamed at me to confront her right then and there, to throw the laptop in her face and demand answers. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the message about her consulting a lawyer. Maybe it was the cold calculation in her words as she discussed her exit strategy with her lover. If she was planning to screw me over, I needed to be smarter. I grabbed my phone and started taking photos. Every message, every photo, every damning piece of evidence. My hands were steadier now, my mind clicking into a mode I recognized from work. Problem solving, strategic planning. I heard her footsteps on the stairs. I closed the message window, pulled up the document I'd originally opened, and hit print again. By the time she walked into the office, I was standing by the printer, casually collecting the permission slip. "Hey, honey," she said, leaning against the doorframe. She looked beautiful, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing the blue dress I'd bought her for her birthday last month. The same dress she'd probably worn for him. "You're home early." "Finished the site inspection ahead of schedule," I said, my voice surprisingly normal. "Thought I'd pick up Emma from school today. Give you a break." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "That's sweet, but I can get her. I actually left work early because I'm not feeling well." Liar. I'd seen the messages. She'd left early to meet Tyler at their usual spot, the Riverside Hotel on Maple Avenue. He must have canceled. "You should rest then," I said, moving past her. "I'll handle dinner too." She touched my arm as I passed, and it took everything in me not to flinch. "You're the best, David. I don't know what I'd do without you." The irony was so thick I could choke on it. That night, after Emma was asleep, I lay in bed next to my wife and listened to her breathing. She fell asleep easily, like she didn't have a care in the world. Meanwhile, I was staring at the ceiling, my mind racing through possibilities. I could confront her. But then what? She'd already planned her exit strategy. She'd probably been moving money, documenting things to make me look bad, building her case. If I came at her unprepared, I'd lose everything. My daughter, my house, half my retirement, and probably end up paying her support for the next decade. No, I needed to be smarter than that. The next morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. After Ashley left for the office and Emma went to school, I got to work. First stop, James Whitmore, a divorce attorney whose name I'd found through a discreet Google search. His office was in downtown Seattle, 30 minutes from our house in the suburbs. "Mr. Patterson," he said, shaking my hand firmly. He was in his 50s, with gray hair and sharp eyes that had probably seen every variation of human betrayal. "You mentioned on the phone this was urgent." "My wife is cheating on me," I said, getting straight to the point. "And she's planning to divorce me. I need to make sure I don't lose my daughter." I showed him everything: the photos on my phone, the message threads, the evidence I'd gathered. The attorney's office felt sterile. Too much glass, too much chrome. James Whitmore sat across from me, reviewing the printed screenshots I'd laid on his desk. His expression remained neutral, professional. He'd probably seen worse. "How long have you known?" he asked. "Since yesterday afternoon." His eyebrows raised slightly. "And you haven't confronted her?" "No." "Good." He set down the papers and leaned back in his chair. "That shows discipline. Most people would have blown up immediately." I didn't feel disciplined. I felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped everything vital from my chest and left only the mechanics. Heart still beating, lungs still working, but nothing else. "Walk me through your financial situation," Whitmore said. I did. The house, purchased 8 years ago, about 60% paid off, in both our names. My salary at the construction firm, $130,000 a year. Ashley's income from Meridian Marketing, $45,000. Joint checking account. Separate retirement accounts. Emma's college fund that we'd been contributing to since she was born. Whitmore took notes on a yellow legal pad. Old school. "Any large purchases recently? Unusual withdrawals?" "No, nothing I've noticed." "Check anyway, tonight if possible. Print out the last 6 months of bank statements from your joint account. Credit card statements too. If she's been planning this, she might have been moving money." The cold in my chest spread. I hadn't even thought of that. "What about the house?" I asked. "Washington is a community property state. Everything acquired during the marriage gets divided equally, unless there's a compelling reason otherwise." He tapped the screenshots. "This gives us compelling reasons. Adultery doesn't affect property division directly, but it can influence other factors, especially custody. I want custody of Emma." "Full custody?" "Primary. I want her living with me. Ashley can have visitation." Whitmore studied me for a moment. "That's going to be a fight. Courts generally favor shared custody, and mothers still have an advantage in many judges' minds, whether they admit it or not. Ashley's been having an affair for over a year. She's been lying to our daughter every single day. She's been meeting this guy at hotels while Emma's at school." My voice stayed level, but my hands were clenched on the armrests. "She's planning to take Emma away from me, take our house, and she's been coordinating all of it with her lawyer while playing the loving wife at home." "I understand, and we'll use all of that." Whitmore's tone was matter of fact. "But you need to understand that infidelity alone doesn't disqualify someone from custody. We need to build a case that you're the stable parent, the primary caregiver, the one who provides consistency in Emma's life." "I am." "Then we need to document it. Who takes Emma to school?" "Ashley, usually. I leave for work earlier." "Who picks her up?" "Ashley." "Doctor's appointments, parent-teacher conferences, school events?" I saw where this was going. "We both go to those, But Ashley handles more of the day-to-day stuff because she has more flexible hours. Whitmore wrote something down. We need to change that pattern starting now. You're going to become very visible in Emma's daily routine. Pick her up from school when you can. Volunteer for classroom activities. Document everything. Keep a calendar of every interaction, every event you attend, every meal you make, every bedtime story you read. It felt calculated, manipulative, exactly what Ashley had been doing to me. I'm not trying to weaponize my daughter, I said. You're not. You're protecting your relationship with her. There's a difference. Whitmore set down his pen. Your wife has been strategizing for months, maybe longer. She has a head start. We need to catch up, and we need to do it carefully. The moment you confront her, everything changes. She'll lawyer up, stop communicating, start building her own case. Right now, you have an advantage. She doesn't know that you know. How long do I keep pretending? As long as it takes to get our ducks in a row. A few weeks, ideally. We need financial records, documentation of your parental involvement, and we need to understand what her attorney might already have prepared. The thought of going home tonight, of sitting across from Ashley at dinner, of listening to her talk about her day while knowing everything I knew, my stomach turned. I don't know if I can do that. You can. Whitmore's voice was firm. You've already done it for 24 hours. You can do it longer, for Emma's sake. He was right. I knew he was right. What about her phone records? I asked. Can we get those? Eventually through discovery, but that's after you file. For now, focus on what you can access legally. If she leaves her laptop open again, take more screenshots. If she talks about work trips or late meetings, note the dates and times. Build a timeline. She's careful. She doesn't usually leave her computer unlocked. Then you got lucky yesterday. Don't count on it happening again. Whitmore pulled out a business card and slid it across the desk. This is a forensic accountant I work with. If you notice anything suspicious in your financial records, we'll bring her in. She's excellent at finding hidden assets, unusual transfers, that sort of thing. I pocketed the card. One more thing, Whitmore said. No confrontations, no accusations. If she suspects you know, this whole strategy falls apart. Can you do that? Can you keep your emotions in check? I thought about last night, lying in bed next to her, watching her sleep, the rage that had burned through me, cold and controlled. Yes. Good. Go home. Act normal. Print those financial statements tonight after she's asleep. Check her calendar if you can access it. See if there are any upcoming meetings or trips that don't add up. Document everything, but don't change your behavior in any way that might alert her. I stood. My legs felt unsteady. Mr. Patterson. Whitmore stood as well, extending his hand. I know this is difficult, but you're doing the right thing, for yourself and for your daughter. I shook his hand and left. The drive back to the suburbs took 40 minutes in midday traffic. I told Ashley I had a site inspection across town, that I'd be back by early afternoon. It was barely noon. I stopped at a coffee shop 3 blocks from our house and sat in my truck in the parking lot, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Ashley. How's the inspection going? I stared at the message. 3 words, casual, normal, the kind of thing she'd texted me 1,000 times over the years. Fine, wrapping up soon. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Can you pick up milk on the way home? We're almost out. Sure. I set the phone down on the passenger seat and pressed my palms against my eyes. The pressure helped somehow. Grounded me. When I looked up, I saw a woman walking past my truck holding a little girl's hand. The girl was maybe 6, wearing a pink backpack, chattering away about something. The woman smiled down at her, patient and present. Emma would be at school right now. 2nd grade. Mrs. Palmer's class. She'd mentioned something at breakfast yesterday about a science project, growing beans in paper cups. She was excited about it. I hadn't been paying attention. Not really. I'd been thinking about work, about the Henderson project deadline, about whether I needed to follow up with the electrical subcontractor. Normal things. Irrelevant things. Everything had been normal 24 hours ago. I started the truck and drove to the grocery store. Bought milk, whole milk, the kind Emma liked for her cereal. Ashley preferred almond milk in her coffee, so I grabbed that too. Creature of habit. Thoughtful husband. I was getting good at this. I spent the rest of Thursday afternoon being the perfect father. Picked Emma up from school at 3:45, asked about her day, helped with homework at the kitchen table. When Ashley walked through the door at 6:15, I had dinner in the oven and Emma's spelling words memorized for the practice quiz. "Something smells good," Ashley said, setting her purse on the counter. "Chicken parmesan. Should be ready in 20. I kept my voice light, easy. "How was work?" "The usual. Conference call ran long." She kissed Emma's head, then moved toward me. I let her kiss my cheek, felt her lips against my skin, and thought about Tyler Brennan's hands on her body. "Rough day?" I asked. "Just tired." She pulled back, studying my face for a moment. "You okay? You seem, I don't know, different." My pulse jumped, but I kept my expression neutral. "Long day for me, too. Site inspection went sideways, had to deal with the electrical contractor for 2 hours." She nodded, apparently satisfied, and headed upstairs to change. I stood at the stove, stirring marinara sauce, and realized this was going to be harder than I thought. Every word out of her mouth was potentially a lie. Every kiss, every touch, every smile, all of it contaminated by what I knew. But I couldn't slip. Not now. Not when I was finally ahead of her for the first time in 14 months. Dinner was normal. Painfully, absurdly normal. Emma talked about her friend Madison's birthday party next week. Ashley mentioned a project deadline at work, probably code for another hotel afternoon with Tyler. I nodded in all the right places, asked follow-up questions, refilled water glasses. "Daddy, can you help me with my science project this weekend?" Emma asked, tomato sauce on her chin. "Absolutely. What are we building?" "A volcano. It has to erupt and everything." Ashley smiled at me across the table. "You're so good with her." The irony wasn't lost on me. According to the messages I'd photographed, she'd told her lawyer I was an adequate but uninvolved father who worked too much to handle primary custody. Meanwhile, I was the one who knew Emma's teacher's name, her best friends, her favorite lunch, her bedtime routine. Ashley had been too busy planning her exit strategy to notice. "It's easy when she's this cool," I said, winking at Emma. After dinner, I did the dishes while Ashley helped Emma with her bath. I heard them laughing upstairs and something cold settled deeper into my chest. Ashley was a good mother, I couldn't deny that. But she was willing to weaponize Emma in a divorce, use her as leverage to take everything I'd worked for. That kind of calculation didn't square with the bedtime stories and gentle hairbrushing. People were complicated, or maybe just dishonest. My phone buzzed. A text from James Whitmore. "Call me when you have privacy. Important." I waited until Ashley was reading to Emma, then stepped into the garage with my phone. "David," Whitmore answered on the first ring. "I did some preliminary research on Meridian marketing. Your wife's employer has a strict fraternization policy. Relationships between employees must be disclosed to HR within 30 days, or both parties face termination." "They didn't disclose," I said. "I assumed as much. That gives us leverage. If this goes to court and her affair becomes public record, she'll likely lose her job, reduces her income, strengthens your position on spousal support." I leaned against my workbench. "She makes $45,000. I make $130. Won't I end up paying her either way?" "Possibly. But if she's terminated for cause, violating company policy, a judge might view her employment loss as self-inflicted. It affects the calculation. He paused. There's something else. You mentioned she's been planning this for a while. I want you to check your credit report tonight. All three bureaus. Look for new accounts, credit inquiries, anything you didn't authorize. You think she's hiding money? I think she's been talking to a lawyer, which means she's been getting advice. And the first thing any competent attorney tells a spouse planning divorce is to establish independent finances. Check the report. Call me if you find anything. After we hung up, I stood in the garage for a long moment, staring at the concrete floor. The overhead light hummed. Ashley's car sat in her spot, the same sedan she'd driven to the Riverside Hotel 14 times in the past 4 months. I'd helped her pick it out 3 years ago, negotiated with the dealer, made sure she got a good price. The fool I'd been. I went back inside and found Ashley curled up on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Probably texting Tyler. The thought made my hands tighten into fists, but I forced them to relax. Emma down? I asked. Out like a light. That volcano project really excited her. She glanced up. You're good to do that this weekend? I have to go into the office Saturday afternoon. Sure. What's going on at work? Just catching up on some things. Shouldn't take more than a few hours. She said it smoothly, easily, like she'd been practicing. Saturday afternoon. Another hotel visit, probably. Another few hours with Tyler while I built a baking soda volcano with our daughter. No problem, I said. I'll keep Emma busy. She smiled, relieved. You're the best. I sat down next to her, close enough that our legs touched. She leaned into me, resting her head on my shoulder, and I wrapped my arm around her. We sat like that for a while, her phone dark in her lap, some home renovation show playing on the TV. This was the part that made it unbearable. She felt real in my arms. Warm and solid and familiar. 12 years of marriage didn't evaporate just because I'd seen the truth. My body still responded to her presence, still wanted to believe this was genuine. But I'd seen the messages. I knew better. I love you, she said quietly. I closed my eyes. I love you too. The lie tasted like ash. Later that night, after Ashley fell asleep, I took my laptop into the bathroom and locked the door. Ran the shower for noise cover and pulled up annualcreditreport.com. Requested all 3 reports, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. The first 2 looked normal. Joint credit cards, the mortgage, my truck loan, her car payment. Nothing unusual. Then I opened the TransUnion report. There it was. A credit card I'd never seen before. Capital One Visa, opened 8 months ago in Ashley's name only. Current balance, $8,200. I sat on the edge of the bathtub staring at the screen. 8 months. She'd opened a secret credit card 8 months ago and run up over $8,000 in charges. The statement address was a P.O. box I didn't recognize. I took screenshots, saved them to my encrypted folder with everything else. Then I kept scrolling. Further down, another entry. A checking account at a credit union across town. Opened 6 months ago. The report didn't show the balance, just that the account existed. My stomach turned. This wasn't just an affair. This was a systematic dismantling of our marriage, piece by piece, while I'd been completely oblivious. She'd been building an exit strategy for months. New accounts, secret credit cards, legal consultations. Probably moving money little by little where I couldn't see it. How much had she taken? How much of our savings had she quietly siphoned into accounts I didn't know about? I forwarded the screenshots to Whitmore with a brief message. Found these. How bad is this? His response came through 5 minutes later. Very concerning. We need to freeze joint accounts immediately. I'll prepare emergency motions. Can you come in tomorrow morning? 8 a.m.? I'll be there. I deleted the message thread, cleared my browser history, and flushed the toilet for effect before turning off the shower. When I came back to bed, Ashley was still sleeping, her dark hair spread across the pillow. She looked peaceful, innocent. I slid under the covers and stared at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. Tomorrow morning I'd meet with Whitmore again. We'd freeze the accounts, file whatever motions were necessary to protect what was left of our assets. And I'd come home and make Emma lunch and pretend everything was fine. Saturday, Ashley would go to her office and I'd document it. Follow her if I had to. Get proof of where she really went. And through it all, I'd smile and nod and play the devoted husband until the moment was right. She'd been planning this for months. Now it was my turn. I spent Saturday morning at the park with Emma, pushing her on the swings while Ashley got ready for her work meeting. The spring air was crisp and Emma's laughter should have filled me with warmth. Instead, I felt hollow, going through the motions while my mind calculated angles and outcomes. "Higher, Daddy!" Emma shrieked, her ponytail flying. "You got it, sweetheart." I pushed harder, watching her soar. My phone was in my pocket, recording everything. Audio documentation of quality time with my daughter. Whitmore had been specific. Timestamps, activities, engagement. Every moment counted now. Ashley had left the house at 1:15 p.m., wearing a blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary last year. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd kissed Emma goodbye, told me she'd be home by 5, and driven off with a travel mug of coffee and her leather work bag. Heading to the Riverside Hotel, most likely. Room 412, if their pattern held. I'd considered following her, confronting them both in the act. But Whitmore's words echoed in my head. Emotional satisfaction versus strategic advantage. Choose wisely. So here I was, being the involved father Ashley claimed I wasn't. Building my case one swing push at a time. "Can we get ice cream?" Emma asked when I finally lifted her down from the swing. "Absolutely." We walked to the ice cream shop on Pine Street, Emma's small hand in mine. I let her get 2 scoops even though Ashley would have said 1 was enough. I took a photo of us at the outdoor table, Emma grinning with chocolate on her nose. More documentation, more proof. The bitter part of my brain wondered if this was what Ashley had felt like for the past 14 months, living a double life, every interaction calculated, every smile a performance. We got home at 3:30. Emma wanted to watch a movie, so I set her up with one of her favorites and retreated to my office. I had work to do. I pulled up our bank statements again, going back further this time. 18 months, 2 years. Looking for the pattern of when things changed. There. 19 months ago. A $200 withdrawal from our joint account, cash, no explanation. Then another 2 weeks later. Small amounts at first, easy to miss among the regular expenses. Grocery runs that seemed slightly high. Gas purchases that didn't quite match up with Ashley's usual routes. She'd been planning this longer than I'd thought. I created a spreadsheet documenting every suspicious transaction. Dates, amounts, locations. The cash withdrawals totaled $3,400 over the past year and a half. Money I'd never questioned because I'd trusted her. What a fool I'd been. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother Kevin. "Still on for the game tomorrow?" I'd forgotten about the Mariners game. Kevin had bought tickets months ago. "Yeah, I'm in," I typed back. Normal. I had to keep everything normal. At 4:45, I heard the garage door open. Ashley was home early. I minimized the spreadsheet and pulled up a work email, making it look like I'd been reviewing project schedules. She came in through the kitchen. I heard her heels on the tile, then silence as she presumably took them off. A moment later, she appeared in my office doorway. "Hey," she said. "How was your day?" She'd changed clothes. The blue dress was gone, replaced by jeans and a casual sweater. Her hair was different too, pulled back in a ponytail instead of the styled waves she'd left with. She'd stopped somewhere to change. Careful. Always so careful. Good, I said, keeping my voice even. Took Emma to the park, got ice cream. She's watching a movie now. That's sweet. Ashley smiled, and I wanted to scream at her. How was your meeting? Fine, productive. She leaned against the door frame, the picture of casual ease. We're finalizing the campaign strategy for the Peterson account. Should be wrapped up by end of month. The lies came so easily to her. That's great, I said. You work so hard. Something flickered in her eyes. Guilt? Suspicion? It was gone before I could identify it. I'm going to start dinner, she said. Chicken okay? Perfect. She left, and I sat there staring at my computer screen, my hands clenched into fists under the desk. Dinner was excruciating. Ashley talked about her fake meeting, spinning details about marketing strategies and client preferences. Emma chattered about the park and her ice cream. I nodded and smiled and contributed just enough to seem present. You're quiet tonight, Ashley observed, passing me the salad bowl. Just tired, I said. Big week coming up. The Smith Street project is hitting a critical phase. You should take it easy tomorrow then. Relax. I'm going to the Mariners game with Kevin, actually. Oh, that's right, she smiled. That'll be fun. You should have a guy's day. So understanding. So supportive. I wondered if she was planning to see Tyler while I was gone. After dinner, I helped Emma with her bath and read her 3 bedtime stories. She fell asleep holding her stuffed rabbit, her face peaceful and innocent. I stood in her doorway for a long moment, watching her breathe. This was what mattered. Not the house, not the money. Emma. Ashley could take everything else if she wanted, but not my daughter. I found Ashley in our bedroom, already in her pajamas, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I entered. Emma asleep? Out like a light. You're good with her, Ashley said softly. She loves spending time with you. The compliment felt like acid. Did she even hear her own contradictions? In her messages to Tyler, I was uninvolved, disconnected. To my face, I was a good father. Which version did she actually believe? I love spending time with her too, I said. I went through my nighttime routine on autopilot, brushed my teeth, changed clothes, set my phone on the nightstand. Ashley was already under the covers, her phone finally dark beside her. David, she said as I slid into bed. Yeah? I love you. The words hung in the dark between us. I could feel her waiting for my response, could sense the weight of expectation. Love you too, I said, because what else could I say? She moved closer, her hand finding mine under the covers. Her touch felt foreign, like a stranger's skin. We should do something, she said. Just the two of us. It's been a while since we had a real date night. Sure, I managed. That would be nice. Maybe next weekend? There's that new Italian place on 4th Avenue everyone's talking about. Not the Riverside Hotel, apparently. We'd graduate to actual restaurants for our reconciliation theater. Sounds good. She squeezed my hand and settled into her pillow. Within minutes, her breathing deepened into sleep. I lay awake in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, her hand still loosely holding mine. Was this how it had been for her all those nights? Lying next to me, holding my hand, while her mind was with Tyler? Planning her exit strategy while I slept beside her? Oblivious? The cruelty of it was staggering. My phone buzzed softly. I carefully extracted my hand from Ashley's and checked the screen. An email from Whitmore, sent at 10:47 p.m. Reviewed the documents you sent. Call me Monday morning, 8 a.m. sharp. We need to move faster than I initially thought. My stomach tightened. I typed back, "What's wrong?" Three dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Not over email. Monday, 8 a.m. I set the phone down, my heart pounding. Beside me, Ashley slept peacefully, her face relaxed and serene in the dim light from the window. She looked like the woman I'd married 12 years ago. The woman I'd built a life with. The woman who was systematically dismantling everything we'd created. Tomorrow, I'd go to the baseball game with Kevin. I'd drink beer and eat hot dogs and pretend everything was fine. I'd come home and kiss my wife and tuck my daughter into bed. And Monday morning at 8 a.m., I'd find out what Whitmore had discovered that couldn't wait. I closed my eyes, but sleep was a long time coming. I was loading the dishwasher after dinner when Emma's voice carried from the living room. "Alexa, where was Mom yesterday?" My hands froze on a plate. The device chimed its acknowledgement tone. According to Ashley's calendar, the assistant's artificial voice announced, yesterday at 1 p.m. she had an appointment at Lucia's Bistro on 4th Avenue. The plate nearly slipped from my grip. I set it carefully in the rack, my mind racing. Yesterday was Sunday. Ashley had told me she was meeting her college friend Rachel for lunch. I'd been home with Emma, building that elaborate blanket fort she'd wanted. "Thanks, Alexa," Emma called out, already moving on to whatever game she was playing. But I couldn't move on. Lucia's Bistro. I pulled out my phone, keeping my movements casual as I walked to the doorway. Emma was sprawled on the floor with her dolls, completely absorbed. Ashley was upstairs taking a shower. I searched for the restaurant. Upscale Italian place. Romantic lighting in the photos. Definitely not the casual cafe you'd pick for catching up with an old friend. The water was still running upstairs. I opened the banking app I'd been monitoring obsessively since Friday. Ashley's credit card, the legitimate one we shared, showed no charge from Lucia's Bistro yesterday. I switched to the secret card I'd discovered. There it was. 147.52s at Lucia's Bistro, posted yesterday at 1:43 p.m. She'd lied about Rachel. Of course she had. Another lunch with Tyler while I was home being the devoted father, building forts and making grilled cheese sandwiches. The shower shut off. I cleared my phone screen and returned to the dishwasher, my movements mechanical. The rage was there, that familiar companion I'd been carrying for 5 days now, but underneath it was something colder. Calculation. This was good. This was another piece of evidence, another documented lie. Ashley came downstairs 20 minutes later, her dark hair still damp, wearing yoga pants and one of my old college shirts. She looked relaxed. Happy, even. "Emma's bath time," she said, kissing my cheek as she passed. The casual intimacy of it made my skin crawl. "I'll handle it tonight. You've been so amazing with her this weekend." "Thanks," I managed. "How was lunch with Rachel yesterday? You never said." She didn't even hesitate. "Oh, it was good. We went to that little cafe near her place, the one with the outdoor seating. She's thinking about going back to school for her master's." The lies came so easily, so smoothly, like she'd practiced them. "That's great," I said. "Good for her." Ashley headed upstairs with Emma, and I heard them laughing together as bathwater started running. The sound of my daughter's giggles mixed with my wife's voice created a dissonance that made my chest tight. I pulled out my phone again and added a new entry to the notes file I'd been keeping. Sunday 5:14. Ashley claimed lunch with college friend Rachel. Actually, Lucia's Bistro with Tyler, confirmed via Alexa calendar sync and secret credit card charge, 147.52. Told me it was casual cafe near Rachel's place with outdoor seating. The documentation was growing. Every lie carefully recorded. Every piece of evidence photographed and backed up to 3 separate cloud accounts Whitmore had helped me set up. My phone buzzed. A text from Whitmore. "Call me when you can talk privately." I stepped out to the garage, closing the door behind me. He answered on the first ring. "I've been going through the financial records you sent," he said without preamble. The forensic accountant found something interesting in the pattern of cash withdrawals. I leaned against my workbench. "What kind of pattern?" "They cluster around specific dates, always within a day or two of your business trips. When you were in Portland last month? She pulled $600 the day you left. When you were at that conference in San Francisco in March? Another $500. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. She was using my trips to spend time with him, using cash so there wouldn't be a paper trail on the credit cards I could see. That's our assessment. But here's what's interesting. The total amount withdrawn over 18 months is now confirmed at $3,400. That money went somewhere. It's not in the hidden checking account. That only has $200 in it. So where's the other $2,200? That's what we need to find out. Could be another account we haven't discovered yet. Could be she gave it to him. Could be she's keeping it as cash somewhere." He paused. "Have you noticed any large purchases? Jewelry? Electronics?" I thought back over the past year and a half. "No, nothing unusual. She's not exactly flashy." "Then my guess is either another hidden account or she's building a cash reserve, probably keeping it somewhere in the house. A safety deposit box would show up in bank records." The house. Our house. Where I'd lived for 8 years, where we'd brought Emma home from the hospital, where I'd built shelves in the garage and painted every room. She was hiding money in our house to fund her exit strategy. "I'll look," I said. "Carefully. Don't disturb anything in a way she'd notice." "And David?" His voice took on a sharper edge. "The calendar synced to your home assistant. That's potentially very useful. If she's putting appointments with him in her calendar and it's accessible through shared devices, that's contemporaneous evidence. Much harder to claim it was fabricated later." "She doesn't know the Alexa can read her calendar. I set up the integration months ago for family scheduling. She barely uses the thing." "Perfect. Start asking it questions when she's not around. Where was Ashley on this date? What appointments does Ashley have this week? Document everything it tells you. Screenshot the calendar if you can access it directly." We talked for another 5 minutes about the deposition timeline and discovery process. Whitmore was moving faster than I'd expected, already preparing preliminary filings. He wanted to be ready to serve her the moment I gave the word. "One more thing," he said before hanging up. "That urgent meeting I mentioned Friday? I've been doing some checking on her attorney, Gregory Walsh. He's good, but he's also expensive, really expensive. His retainer alone is $15,000. The number hit me like a punch. How is she paying him? That's the question, isn't it? She doesn't have $15,000 in any account we found, which means either she's got more money hidden than we know about, or someone's helping her pay for it. Tyler. The thought came immediately. Was he funding her divorce attorney? How serious was this thing between them? "I'll find out," I said. After we hung up, I stood in the garage for a long moment, staring at the tools hanging neatly on the pegboard I'd installed 2 years ago. Everything in its place, everything organized and logical. My life had looked like that once. Organized, logical, predictable. The garage door leading into the house opened. Ashley stood there, silhouetted against the light from the kitchen. "You okay?" she asked. "You've been out here a while." "Just checking on something for work," I said, sliding my phone into my pocket. "Conference call tomorrow morning. Wanted to make sure I had the details right." She nodded, accepting the lie as easily as she told her own. "Emma wants you to read her bedtime story tonight, the one about the dragon." "I'll be right there." She disappeared back inside. I counted to 10, then followed. Emma was already in her pajamas, teeth brushed, the dragon book clutched in her hands. Her face lit up when she saw me, and that familiar protective rage surged through my chest. This little girl, who trusted both her parents completely, who had no idea her world was about to be torn apart. I read her the story, doing all the voices the way she liked. The brave knight, the wise dragon, the silly princess. She giggled at all the right parts, her small hand resting on my arm. "I love you, Daddy," she said sleepily as I tucked her in. "I love you too, sweetheart. More than anything." Ashley was waiting in the hallway when I came out, her expression soft. Loving. The mask she wore so perfectly. "You're such a good dad," she said quietly. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd married 12 years ago. The woman who'd promised to love me in sickness and health for better or worse. The woman who was planning to take everything from me while sleeping in our bed and smiling to my face. "Just trying to be there for her," I said. Later, after Ashley had fallen asleep beside me, I lay awake in the darkness. Tomorrow, I'd search the house. Tomorrow, I'd ask Alexa more questions about Ashley's calendar. Tomorrow, I'd add more evidence to the growing file that would destroy her case before she even knew I was fighting back. But tonight, I just stared at the ceiling and wondered how much more of this careful performance I could maintain before something inside me snapped. The weekend crawled by with excruciating slowness. Every smile Ashley gave me felt like a knife twisting deeper. Every time she touched my arm or kissed me goodbye, I had to suppress the urge to recoil. Saturday morning, I took Emma to her soccer game while Ashley claimed she needed to catch up on work emails. I sat on the aluminum bleachers, cheering as Emma scored a goal, while my phone buzzed with a text from Whitmore's investigator. Subject met male, matching Tyler Brennan's description at Greenwood Park. 10:47 a.m. Photos attached. I didn't open the attachments. Not there, not with other parents around me. Instead, I jumped to my feet and hollered praise at Emma, who beamed at me from the field. That night, Ashley suggested we watch a movie together after Emma went to bed. We sat on opposite ends of the couch. When had that started? And I pretended to pay attention to some romantic comedy she'd picked. The irony wasn't lost on me. On screen, a husband discovered his wife's emotional affair, and they worked through it with tears and apologies and a renewed commitment. "That was sweet," Ashley said when the credits rolled. "Yeah." I stood and stretched. "I'm exhausted. Early morning tomorrow." She looked surprised. "Tomorrow's Sunday." "I know. Promised Emma I'd take her to that new pancake place before it gets crowded." Something flickered across Ashley's face. Annoyance, maybe. Or guilt. "Oh, I didn't know about that." "Spur of the moment thing." I headed toward the stairs. "You can sleep in." Behind me, I heard her sigh. Good. Let her feel excluded. Let her wonder if I was pulling away. Maybe she'd get careless. Sunday morning, Emma and I sat in a red vinyl booth at Rosie's Diner, sharing a stack of chocolate chip pancakes. She chattered about her soccer game, about a book she was reading, about how her friend Madison's family was getting a puppy. "Can we get a puppy, Daddy?" "Maybe," I said, cutting another piece of pancake. "That's a big responsibility." "I'd take care of it, I promise. I'd walk it every day and feed it and everything." I smiled despite the weight in my chest. "We'll talk about it, okay?" "Okay." She took that as a victory, bouncing in her seat. My phone buzzed. A text from Whitmore. "Monday 8 a.m. still works?" "I'll be there," I typed back. "Who's that?" Emma asked. "Just work stuff, sweetheart." She wrinkled her nose. "You always have work stuff." "I know, but you're more important than any work stuff. You know that, right?" She nodded, already distracted by the whipped cream on her plate. When we got home, Ashley was in the kitchen, still in her pajamas, scrolling through her phone. She barely looked up when we walked in. "How were the pancakes?" "Amazing!" Emma launched into a detailed description of every topping option. I watched Ashley's face as she half listened to our daughter. Her phone buzzed, and her eyes flicked down to it. Her expression didn't change, but Her thumb moved quickly across the screen. "Emma, why don't you go play for a bit?" I suggested. "Let your breakfast settle before you run around." "Okay," she thundered up the stairs. Ashley set her phone face down on the counter. "I was thinking of running some errands this afternoon. Do you need anything?" "Nope, I'm good." "Okay." She poured herself more coffee. "I'll probably be gone a few hours." "Sure, take your time." She studied me for a moment. "You've been really present lately, with Emma. I'm her father." "I know, I just mean more than usual." I met her eyes. "Is that a problem?" No, of course not." She looked away first. "It's good. She loves spending time with you." "Good." The silence stretched between us. Finally, Ashley grabbed her phone and headed upstairs. "I should get dressed." I waited until I heard the bedroom door close, then pulled out my own phone. The investigator's photos from yesterday loaded slowly. Ashley and Tyler on a park bench, his arm around her shoulders. Her head tilted back, laughing at something he'd said. I deleted the message and cleared my phone's cache. Paranoid, maybe, but I wasn't taking chances. That afternoon, while Ashley was out on her errands, I searched the house. Methodically, carefully. Starting with the obvious places: her closet, her dresser drawers, the bathroom cabinets. Nothing. The guest bedroom closet held only old clothes and Christmas decorations. The linen closet was just towels and sheets. I checked inside shoe boxes, felt along the backs of drawers, looked under the mattress in the guest room. Nothing. I was about to give up when I remembered the storage boxes in the garage. Ashley had organized them last year, labeling everything: holiday decorations, baby clothes, college memories, tax documents. Tax documents seemed promising. I pulled down the box and opened it. Old returns, receipts, pay stubs from Ashley's previous jobs. I flipped through methodically, and there, tucked between 2019 and 2020 tax returns, I found a manila envelope. Inside, $800 in cash. 20s and 50s, bundled with rubber bands. My hands shook as I photographed it, making sure the tax return year was visible in the frame for context. Then I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. $1,800. Not the full $2,200, but close. The rest was probably in her purse or another hiding spot I hadn't found yet. I texted the photo to Whitmore with a brief explanation. His response came within minutes. "Don't touch it. Document only. See you tomorrow." Ashley came home around 5, carrying shopping bags from Target. "Successful trip?" I asked from the couch, where I was ostensibly watching a basketball game. "Just picked up some things we needed." She set the bags down. "Laundry detergent, paper towels, boring stuff." Emma ran down the stairs. "Did you get snacks?" "Of course." Ashley pulled out a box of granola bars. "Your favorite." I watched them together. Ashley smoothing Emma's hair back, Emma hugging her mother's waist. The casual intimacy of it. How many times had I seen this exact scene and felt nothing but contentment? Now it just made me sick. "I'm going to start dinner," Ashley announced. "Spaghetti okay with everyone?" "Yay!" Emma cheered. "Sounds good," I said. We ate together like a normal family. We talked about Emma's week ahead, about a birthday party she was invited to, about whether we should plant tomatoes in the garden this year. Ashley's foot brushed mine under the table and I didn't pull away. This was the game now. Pretend everything was fine. Smile and nod and play the role of the unsuspecting husband. After dinner, after Emma's bath, after bedtime stories and tucking her in, Ashley and I stood in our bedroom getting ready for bed. "You seem distant," she said, pulling off her earrings. My stomach clenched. "Just tired. Big project at work." "You'd tell me if something was wrong, right?" The audacity of it. The sheer, breathtaking audacity. "Of course," I said. You'd tell me too, right? She met my eyes in the mirror. Of course. Liar. I climbed into bed and turned off my lamp. Ashley slid in beside me a few minutes later. She moved closer, her hand finding my shoulder. I love you, she whispered. I closed my eyes. Love you too. Her hand slid down my arm, then away. She rolled over, and within minutes her breathing deepened into sleep. I lay there in the darkness, listening to her breathe, feeling the weight of her on the other side of the mattress. 24 hours. In 24 hours, I'd be sitting in Whitmore's office, finding out what was so urgent it couldn't wait. My phone buzzed softly on the nightstand. A text from an unknown number. This is Whitmore's investigator. Subject's phone records came through. You need to see these. Sending encrypted file now. I waited until Ashley's breathing was deep and regular, then slipped out of bed and into the bathroom. Locked the door. Opened the encrypted file on my phone. Call logs. Hundreds of them. Ashley to Tyler. Tyler to Ashley. Some lasting seconds, some lasting over an hour. The frequency was staggering. Multiple calls per day, every single day, for the past 14 months. But that wasn't what made my blood run cold. There were other numbers, too. A law office, Gregory Walsh's presumably. But also another number, called repeatedly over the past 6 weeks. I didn't recognize it. I scrolled to the bottom of the investigator's message. That last number belongs to a real estate agent, Kimberly Foster, specializes in divorce sales. Ashley wasn't just planning to leave me. She was already planning what to do with the house. I sat in James Whitmore's office at 8:02 a.m. Monday morning. The phone records spread across his desk like evidence at a crime scene. She's been calling the real estate agent for 6 weeks, Whitmore said, tapping the highlighted entries. That means she's been planning to force a sale of the house. In Washington, if you can't agree on the division of property, the court can order it sold and the proceeds split. She lives in that house, I said. Emma's room, her school district, everything. She doesn't care about the house. She cares about the cash. He pulled out another document. The forensic accountant finished her analysis. Best we can tell, Ashley's moved about $47,000 out of your joint accounts over the past 18 months. Small transfers, cash withdrawals, charges on the hidden credit card that she paid off with transfers from savings. All while you were depositing your paychecks like clockwork. The number hit me like a physical blow. $47,000. How did I not notice? Because you trusted your wife. That's not a character flaw, David. That's what marriage is supposed to be. He leaned back in his chair. But here's the good news. She made mistakes. The hidden accounts are still marital property. The cash in your garage? Marital property. She can't just take it and walk away. And the affair, combined with her financial deception, gives us significant leverage on custody. I want a file, I said. Today. Whitmore studied me for a long moment. You're sure? Once we do this, there's no going back. She'll know you know everything. I'm sure. Then let's do it right. He pulled out a legal pad. Here's what happens next. We file for dissolution of marriage today. We'll request temporary orders for an immediate freeze on all accounts, temporary custody arrangements, and exclusive use of the family home for you and Emma. We'll include a request for a restraining order preventing her from dissipating assets. The affair evidence, the hidden accounts, the cash, all of it goes in. How long before she's served? We can have her served at work tomorrow. Maximum impact, minimum chance of her destroying evidence at home. I thought about Ashley at Meridian Marketing, sitting at her desk, probably texting Tyler. A process server walking up with the papers. Everyone in the office watching. Do it. I spent Monday in a fog, went to work, sat through meetings, reviewed project schedules. My phone stayed silent. Ashley texted me once around noon. Don't forget Emma has dance class at 4. Can you pick her up? I'll get her, I typed back. At 3:30, I left the construction site and drove to Emma's school. She came running out with her backpack bouncing, her face bright with excitement about something that had happened at recess. I listened to her chatter all the way to dance class, parked outside the studio, and watched through the window as she practiced her routine. My daughter, 7 years old, about to have her world turned upside down. When I picked her up an hour later, she was still buzzing with energy. Miss Julie says I'm getting really good at my pirouettes. That's because you practice so hard, sweetheart. Ashley was home when we got there, already starting dinner. She kissed Emma's head, asked about dance class, stirred something on the stove. Normal. Everything perfectly, painfully normal. How was your day? She asked me. Fine, busy. She nodded, distracted by her phone again. Always her phone. I helped Emma with homework while Ashley finished cooking. We ate together. We talked about nothing important. Ashley mentioned she had an early meeting tomorrow, would need to leave by 7. No problem, I said. I'll handle Emma's morning routine. After Emma went to bed, Ashley and I sat in the living room. She was scrolling through her phone. I was pretending to read a book. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. I'm going to bed, she finally said. Early morning. I'll be up soon. She paused at the bottom of the stairs. David, are we okay? I looked up from my book. What do you mean? I don't know, you've just seemed different lately. I'm fine, just stressed about work. She didn't look convinced, but she nodded. Okay, don't stay up too late. I waited until I heard the bedroom door close, then pulled out my phone. A text from Whitmore. All filed. Server will be at her office at 10 a.m. tomorrow. You should plan to be home by 3 p.m. in case she comes back early. Have the locks changed by then. I'm sending a locksmith at 1 p.m. Pack a bag of her essentials and leave it in the garage. My hands were shaking. This was real. This was happening. I went upstairs quietly, grabbed a duffel bag from the closet, and started packing Ashley's things. Clothes, toiletries, shoes. Enough for a week or two. The whole time she was sleeping 10 feet away, completely unaware that her life was about to implode. I left the bag in the garage, then came back to bed. Ashley was curled on her side, her dark hair spread across the pillow. In sleep, she looked like the woman I'd married. Young and hopeful and innocent. But I knew better now. Tuesday morning, I got Emma ready for school while Ashley rushed around getting ready for her early meeting. She grabbed her travel mug, kissed Emma goodbye, and was out the door by 7:05. I took Emma to school, came back home, and waited. The locksmith arrived at 1 p.m. sharp. By 2 p.m., every lock on every door had been changed. I had the only keys. At 2:30, Whitmore called. She's been served. Left the office immediately. Her attorney called me 10 minutes ago, threatening everything under the sun. I told him we'd see him in court. Is she coming here? Probably. Are you ready? Yes. I wasn't ready. How could anyone be ready for this? Ashley's car pulled into the driveway at 2:47 p.m. I watched through the window as she got out, her face pale and shocked. She tried her key in the front door. It didn't work. She tried again, then started pounding on the door. I opened it. She stood there with the divorce papers clutched in one hand, her face a mixture of rage and disbelief. What the hell is this? It's exactly what it looks like. You're divorcing me? She looked down at the papers again. You're accusing me of adultery? Of hiding money? This is insane. Is it? I kept my voice calm. Tyler Brennan, Riverside Hotel, room 412. 14 visits in the past 4 months. Lucia's Bistro last Sunday while you told me you were having lunch with Rachel. The $47,000 you've stolen from our accounts, the secret credit card, the cash hidden in the garage. Should I go on? The color drained from her face. You've been spying on me. You've been cheating on me for 14 months. She stopped, seemed to regroup. We can talk about this. We can work through this. No, we can't. Your lawyer already knows that. You've been planning this divorce for months, Ashley. You just didn't expect me to file first. You can't keep me out of my own house. It's not your house anymore. Read the temporary orders. I have exclusive use pending the hearing. Your belongings are in a bag in the garage. You need to leave. I'm not leaving. Emma's my daughter. And you'll see her according to the custody schedule. Supervised visitation until the hearing, given your demonstrated deception and poor judgment. She stared at me like she'd never seen me before. You bastard. You planned this. You've been planning this. Not as long as you have, but I'm a quick learner. Her face crumpled. Real tears now, streaming down her cheeks. Please, David, please. We have a daughter. We have a life together. Don't do this. For a moment, just a moment, I almost wavered. 12 years of history. The woman I'd loved, the mother of my child. Then I remembered the messages, the lies, the calculated cruelty of her planning to take everything from me while smiling to my face. You should have thought about that before you started sleeping with Tyler. I stepped back. Your bag is in the garage. You have 5 minutes to get it and leave, or I'm calling the police. You can't do this. I already did. 4 minutes. She stood there, shaking with rage and tears, then finally turned and walked to the garage. I heard her grab the bag, heard her car door slam. The engine started, and she was gone. I closed the door and leaned against it, my whole body trembling. It was done. Emma came home at 3:45. I'd picked her up from the after-school program, and she chattered the whole way home about her day. When we pulled into the driveway, she noticed immediately. Where's Mommy's car? She's staying somewhere else for a little while, sweetheart. We need to talk about something. Her face fell. Are you and Mommy getting divorced? Kids always knew. Somehow, they always knew. Yes, honey, we are. The tears came immediately. I held her while she cried, her small body shaking against mine. Is it my fault? No. Emma, no. This is absolutely not your fault. Mommy and I? We have problems that have nothing to do with you. You are the best thing that ever happened to both of us. Do you understand? She nodded against my chest, but kept crying. You're going to live here with me, I said gently. And you'll see Mommy regularly. We both love you so much. That's never going to change. I want Mommy. I know, sweetheart. I know. I let her call Ashley that night. They talked for 20 minutes, Ashley promising that everything would be okay, that she loved her, that she'd see her soon. When Emma handed me back the phone, I could hear Ashley crying on the other end. You're destroying our daughter, she said. No, I replied quietly. You did that when you decided to blow up our family. I'm just making sure she has one stable parent left. I hung up. The next 3 months were brutal. Court hearings, depositions, mediation sessions that went nowhere. Ashley fought everything. The custody arrangement, the asset division, even the evidence of her affair. Her attorney tried to claim I'd hacked her accounts, that the screenshots were fabricated, that I was an abusive husband who'd driven her into another man's arms. But we had the phone records, the bank statements, the investigators' photos, the hidden credit card in her name only, the cash, the real estate agent calls. All of it time-stamped, documented, undeniable. Tyler Brennan disappeared from the picture fast. Once he realized he might be called to testify, he broke things off with Ashley. She showed up to a hearing with red eyes and a defeated slump to her shoulders. The judge wasn't sympathetic. At the final hearing in August, he looked at Ashley over his reading glasses and said, Mrs. Patterson, You conducted a 14-month affair while systematically hiding marital assets and planning to dissolve your marriage in a way that would maximize your financial gain and minimize your husband's custodial rights. I find your testimony regarding your fitness as a parent to be severely undermined by this pattern of deception. He awarded me primary custody. Ashley got every other weekend and one evening per week. The house stayed with me and Emma. Ashley would get her share of the equity when Emma turned 18, not before. The retirement accounts were split, but Ashley had to pay back the $47,000 she'd hidden, plus legal fees. The affair also cost her job. Meridian Marketing's HR department had been very interested in the court documents showing she'd violated their fraternization policy. She and Tyler were both terminated. By September, it was over. Ashley moved to an apartment across town. Emma adjusted slowly, with the help of a child therapist. Some nights she still cried for her mother. Some nights I sat in her doorway and watched her sleep, wondering if I'd done the right thing. But then I'd remember the messages, the lies, the cold calculation in Ashley's plan to take everything from me. I'd done what I had to do. For Emma. For myself. A year later, I stood in Emma's doorway again, watching her sleep. She was 8 now, taller, more confident. The therapy had helped. The stability had helped. She saw her mother regularly, and Ashley had mellowed. Whether from regret or just exhaustion, I didn't know. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother Kevin. "How's the single dad life treating you?" "Better than the married life was," I typed back. And I meant it. The house was quieter now, lonelier sometimes. But it was honest. No more lies, no more pretending. Just me and Emma, building a life that was real. I'd learned something through all of this, something I wished I'd understood earlier. Trust isn't about blind faith. It's about choosing to believe someone who's proven themselves worthy of belief. Ashley had proven the opposite. She'd shown me that some people could look you in the eye, say they love you, and be planning your destruction all along. But I'd also learned that I was stronger than I thought. That I could survive betrayal. That I could fight for what mattered and win. Emma stirred in her sleep, clutching her stuffed rabbit. My daughter. My reason for all of it. I pulled her door closed quietly and went downstairs. Tomorrow was Saturday. We'd go to the park, maybe get ice cream. Normal things. Good things. The screenshot that changed everything had destroyed my marriage, but it had also saved me from wasting more years on a lie. It had given me the chance to build something real with my daughter, something based on honesty instead of deception. In the end, that was worth more than any marriage built on sand. I poured myself a drink and sat on the back porch, looking up at the stars. Somewhere across town, Ashley was in her apartment, living with the consequences of her choices. I didn't hate her anymore. I didn't feel much of anything toward her except a distant sadness for what could have been if she'd been a different person. But she wasn't. And I'd learned to accept that. The moral, if there was one, wasn't complicated. Actions have consequences. Lies eventually surface. And the person you become in crisis, whether you face it with integrity or deception, defines you more than any vow you speak on a wedding day. I'd faced my crisis. I'd protected my daughter. I'd rebuilt my life. And that was enough.